everyone, and welcome to MUXX TV for Sofa Recordings with this wonderful young man next to me, Mick Rogers. It's a great pleasure to have you on the show today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about your new album. We're going to talk about your time with the Earth Band, living in Australia, and all these things. Okay. But I decided I wanted to start at the very beginning. Growing up in Essex and being inspired, I try, and being inspired by people like Ray Charles, for example, in a musical household. Tell me about that, and tell me now, getting older and being wiser, what do you think that did to influence you to become a musician and have music in your soul?
Well, I had a musical background because my father was a drummer, a semi-pro drummer, and my uncle was a double bass player, and he was one of the first guys in the UK to actually play an electric bass, which is amazing. Okay. Yeah, and he's also a great guitarist. His speciality was a Hawaiian guitar and stuff like that. So and we all lived together in this big house and stuff like that. My grandparents lived with us as well. So it was great, and I was just surrounded by music, and I first heard all the jazz things, my dad played me and the big band, stuff like that. And then I used to go and see him play. And it was just a great learning curve, Yeah. So
tell me a little bit more about being together with your whole family, just on a music scale. Yeah. Were your grandparents also musical? Did they see that you had talent? Did they was music just part of the daily life?
I don't think my grandparents were musical. Maybe my grandfather played the spoons or something, no, it was just surrounded by records and radio. And we didn't have a TV till a bit later, And then somebody, I don't know how it came about, but I got this record of Presley, Elvis, doing sort of Good Rockin' Tonight and Blue Moon in Kentucky and stuff like that. And I thought, yeah, this is what I wanted to do. I mean, guys of my age now, Jimmy Page, Jeff Beck and all those guys will say that when they first heard Heartbreak Hotel, everything changed from black and white to color, and we were so influenced by all that, and still am.
And do you remember your father or your uncle saying, wait a second, Elvis Presley, that music is not really the good music, the jazz is the stuff you should stick with? Or did you have discussions about it?
Well, you've hit it because my dad said, they'll never last. Years later, he said, all right, okay, it's pretty cool. He was open to it. And my uncle definitely was. But it was just being surrounded by that. And in those days, I had a conversation with somebody recently. It was so much easier to form a band because it was like skiffle in those days, people like Lonnie Donegan and people like that. And then stuff began to filter from America, the skiffle thing. So we formed a skiffle band. And we were playing the most simplest of things, but it was great. And then that progressed to, I got an electric guitar, which my mother saved up for, and it was a Hofner Colorama. I shall never forget it. And it was all exciting times, we just get together in the front room and play all this stuff. And it was wonderful, all out of tune and stuff like that. And my uncle also ran a guitar, not college, but he used to teach guitar to about 30 guys. And you can imagine all these guys who'd never played, and you walk in there and they'd be and that's me playing. And, it was a right noise, and that gradually got filtered, and we formed a band out of some of those guys. It was great times.
So you just mentioned your mother giving you the Hofner Colorado, and it was something very special. First of all, can you remember the feeling you got? Did you know you were going to get it? Was it a surprise?
Yeah.
And was it always going to be the guitar, or did you ever consider maybe the drums or some other instrument?
I did consider drums. Until I saw Elvis, I think it was, and I heard Scotty Moore. It wasn't Elvis personally, it was more at Scotty Moore when I heard him play all that rockabilly stuff, which I'm still learning. And, you know, I thought, yeah, this is it. And Cliff Gallup, when he played a solo on Gene Vincent's album and stuff, you know. All that, you know, I thought, what? It was like from outer space.
Do you practice a lot still?
Man.
You do? Yeah.
I'll practice tonight. I was telling a manager, Colin Reed, I said, look, I've got these lessons from YouTube. That's why YouTube is fantastic, you know. Eric Johnson and all the more modern guys. And one is like learning chords and, you know, I love all that, you know. No, every day I'm thinking and practicing, you know. Yeah.
I'm going to put you on the spot here and just ask you, Heartbreak Hotel or any other Elvis song or any song from back then, do you want to give us a couple of...
One of the first was Good Rockin' Tonight, which I do on my show.
All right, well, then I'll leave you to play the rest of your line. Yeah.
You're going to leave me on my own?
I'll be right back, though.
Wow.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, you're over there.
Have you heard the news? There's good rockin' tonight. Wanna hold my baby as tight as I can. Tonight you know I'm a money man. Have you heard the news? There's good rockin' tonight. Wanna get you in a hurry behind the barn. Don't you be late, I won't do you no harm. Want you to bring along my rocking shoes. Tonight I'm gonna rock away on my blues. I heard the news, there's good rockin' tonight. Come on and rock. Well, rock. That's where we need a drum. Rock, yeah. Come on and rock. Have you heard the news? There's good rockin' tonight. This is what I practice. Rockin' shoe and how they gonna rock away on my blues. I heard the news, there's good rockin' tonight.
Love it. It doesn't sound like you need too much practice at all, I would say.
My voice is a bit stiff because I'm sitting down and stuff like that.
It sounds wonderful. Okay, let's continue your life. And going from the UK to Australia before you had your big break in the industry. How do you think that time in Australia shaped you as a musician? And how can I imagine for someone who is from America and maybe knows Europe a little bit, but what is the Australian scene like, or what was it like back then?
Well, it was amazing, and there was a lot of camaraderie between the bands. You know, I mean, I think it's got much more competitive now. You know, but it was great. I was glad that I was brought up in the late 50s and early 60s because we had all that, you know. And then it progressed, and the band that we had, the Silver Dollars, it went on to back. We got with an agency and we were doing loads of gigs, you know, and stuff like that. And we were then put together with a guy called Adam Faith, who was big in England. He was a big pop star. And that was great because we started playing the clubs, and then we played a couple of arenas because Adam Faith won all these wonderful awards, and we were able to sort of play on those shows, you know. And that was great. It was just a learning curve, gradually. And I was on a tour which had Gene Pitney and a few other big bands in England, you know, Dozy D and Biggie, Mick and Titch and all those guys, and the Trogs and stuff. And it had an Australian band, Normie Rowe and the Playboys. And at the end of the tour, their guitarist was quitting because I think his wife was pregnant. He wanted to come off the road, etc. Something like that. And they said, would you like to join? Well, Normie was a huge star in Australia. So it was quite funny, the conversation they had with me, because he said, look, I said, well, what are you going to do? He said, well, Normie's a big star. The manager said, Normie's a big star in Australia, you know, and we're going to do, first of all, we're going to do Expo 67 in Canada, Montreal. We're going to do 3 weeks there. Then we're going to go to Australia, but on the way, we're going to have a holiday in Hawaii. And we might pop off to Fiji as well, so that you guys are fresh when you get into Sydney, Australia, ready to start the tour for 3 months. Said, do you want to join? I said, yeah, let me think about it, you know. I mean, it didn't take long. You know?
That's amazing.
And then we got to the airport, and I'd heard that Normie was big and all this sort of thing. There was about 5,000 kids at the airport, and I thought, what's this guy from Essex? And all of a sudden, I'm in this band, you know.
And I think some of our viewers might not understand that now. Back then, you couldn't just Google Normie and see.
No.
You know, it was, you really had to. Someone said you're
right.
famous. You were like, okay.
They showed me the pictures, and I heard the records, but you don't get any idea of that until you're faced with it, and it was quite a shock. Yeah.
Did you have? Was it hard for you to learn all the songs for the tour? Was it like you just got thrown into the band and they said learn the songs and you had to kind of go with it, or how did that work?
I remember we had great rehearsals in London before we went to Expo 67, and a few of the songs I knew. I can't remember them now.
Yeah, can you remember anything, any riffs or anything from back then?
Oh, yeah, he had a hit with a thing called Shakin' All Over.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
You know, all that. And I knew that from Johnny Kidd, you know. I thought, well, we're off for a starter here, you know. And Flo and Eddie, what was their song? In fact, Frank Zappa, who I was fortunate to spend some time with and play with one time, he did that song. Flo and Eddie, what was the track? I can't remember. Anyway, there you go.
So you, they asked you to come on tour with you. Mm-hmm. Did you go home? Or you weren't living at home anymore then, but still, how did you tell your parents, your family that you were leaving? And did they say, are you crazy just to head off to yeah?
Well, that was another situation whereby there's a story I tell about my mother, because my mother and dad, they split up when I was about 6. And I moved to London with this family. So this family saw me play with my dad's band. And I did a spot doing Heartbreak Hotel and stuff like that, and a couple of Presley things and a couple of other rock and roll things. And they said, oh, well, you'll get nowhere where you're living now. You should move to London. So I moved to a place called Bromley, Kent, lived with the family, and this guy managed me for a while. And my mother was left on her own, so to speak, and that was tough for her. She eventually moved to a place called Ilford, which was on the outskirts of London, and it was tough for her because one day I came home and I said, look, Mum, I'm joining this Australian band and I'm off to Australia, you know, and she just went, oh my God. You know.
Did she say, oh my gosh, or did she say, go ahead, congratulations? Do you remember what she...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, because she knew that one day that was probably going to be my thing, that I left home to do this, you know. I actually left home when I was about 15 and a half. There's another story which I tell, which I hope you don't mind.
Oh, please do. Yes, anything.
My mother worked in a shop called Woolworths. Mm-hmm. And she won a prize because they used to run these competitions, right? And she was still living in Essex, and that's when we lived together. And she said, I won this prize. And I said, oh. I said, what's for? She said, I'm not sure if I want to go to this. And I said, well, why not? She said, I don't know anyone on the show. And she said, I think they're all Americans. I said, hand me the ticket, see who it is. Eddie Cochran, Gene Vincent, you know, all these famous rockabilly guys. I said, Mum, I don't care what you do, I'm going. And that was the first time I ever saw Eddie Cochran live.
Oh, my goodness.
And I play one of his tracks on the show, you know.
Well, why don't you play it now?
Oh,
okay,
right.
I'm going to leave you again.
All right, okay. I woke up this morning and I looked out the door. I can tell milk cow by the way that she loads. Now if you send my milk cow, you can rock me all on home. Well, I ain't had no milk and butter since that cow's been known. This is the bit. Tried everything, baby, to get along with you. All I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get you to quit your crying. I wanna leave you alone. If you don't believe I'm leaving, count the days I'm gonna leave. Well, you're gonna need your loving daddy one of these days. Then you're gonna be awful sorry for treating me this way. This is where we gotta get married. I've never heard this before. Tried everything, baby, to get along with you. Well, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. You must quit your crying. I wanna leave you alone. If you don't believe I'm leaving, count the days I'm gonna leave. Something like that. You're gonna need your loving daddy one of these days. And you're gonna be awful sorry for treating me this way. Something like that. I was a bit tongue-tied there. Quit your crying. It's a hard one to sing.
Thank you so much. I love that. Okay, so let's go from Australia back to London. Tell me how that came about and why it didn't happen that you actually decided to stay in Australia.
The band I was in what happened was Normie was called up to Vietnam. So all of a sudden I became the singer and we changed our name to Procession. And it was pretty successful in Australia. In fact, we had the first a cappella single, which eventually was recorded by a band called the New Seekers, and they had a hit with it, and they were a big band too, so it was kind of good. But I always knew that I wanted to come back to England, even though I started to have a family over there, etc. You know, got married and stuff like that, as you do, and or as you don't, and. We signed with a major record company in England, and so we all travelled back to England and rented this big house, or the record company rented this big house in London. And we were produced, and this follows on to meet Manfred, Manfred Mann. We were produced by Manfred's drummer, Mike Hug. And when it came to Manfred forming a rock band, because he wanted to stop doing the pop thing, so to speak, then Mike suggested me as a singer, a guitarist with Manfred. But that's a bit further on.
And with the session you played in the Marquee Club, which could have been your the big breakthrough, but it wasn't, right?
Big time. We supported people like Yes, and we even did our own night there, you know. And you'd play on a Tuesday, which I know it sounds crazy, but that was the main night of the week. And so we play with, I think we did a gig with King Crimson. Well, that was the first time I saw King Crimson there, but definitely Yes, and a few other bands. I met a good friend of mine to this day, Mick who's the guitarist for Uriah Heep. We're still great friends, and he had a band called Spice, and I remember meeting him for the first time, you know. It's a lot of camaraderie.
Yeah, and a lot of wonderful stories. I'm sure I would have loved to be backstage with all of you guys discussing and chatting and having a good time. Was there one point, because it all sounds so easy and how somehow it just all kind of came together, but was there one point or one moment where you thought, oh, I think I can make something out of this and this can be my life? Or was it absolutely clear from the very beginning when you first got your guitar that this is going to be your life and there was no other option?
Well, no. I mean, I always wanted, from the age of, I guess, as early as 10, I knew that I wanted to become a musician. And it was I was what they call blinkered, you know. I was like a horse with the blinkers on. I just had this thing, and I kept going and kept going, and that hasn't left me. You know, I'm just as enthusiastic about what I'm doing now, you know, and working hard to make that come to fruition. I first came to Germany in 1960 with my band as well. And so we used to play 12 hours a day in a place called the K52 Club in Frankfurt.
Oh my God.
We'd have an hour on, hour off, hour on, hour out. And we'd do that for a month, and then we'd spread out and do American Air Force bases and stuff like that. And that was your apprenticeship. You played all those hours, and if you didn't learn something out of that, then you weren't meant to be a musician, you know.
Was there one song on that set, the 12 hours you did every day, that you still remember playing, or that you actually don't like to play anymore because you just had to play it so often?
Oh man. Well, we were doing covers.
Okay.
So it would be covers like a. You got me. I can't sing and play that. You know.
Yeah.
You got me. What's it called? You got me.
Got me going.
Yeah, yeah. And then
like that, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Spencer Davis. Give me some lovin'.
Oh yeah.
What was the other thing? Hot town, summer in the city.
Joe
Back
Cocker,
of my
right?
neck getting dirty and gritty. Not Waterloo Sunset. Stuff like that.
And did you
Stuff
like all that stuff? Or were there,
Yeah. I
You,
thought it
so
was
you got to
cool.
choose which ones you wanted to play?
We got this thing, and I was telling the guys, I never put anything on an album that I don't like, because I've done that in the past.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, where other people would choose it for you. The record company would say, yeah, well, you got to keep that on because it's so-and-so. But I don't like it, you know. So we made a thing, even back then, look, let's not play anything we don't like, because that is boring.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah.
Okay, well, I got to
yeah.
ask you about what song has been on an album that you really didn't like.
Oh, man.
Can you tell us that, or is that something? Is it secret?
I don't play it anymore.
Oh no, but I won't make you play it now. But is there something where you think, oh, why did I say yes back then?
There was a thing by John Prine. I forget the name of it now, and it really didn't suit my voice or anything like that. You see, the thing about the Earth Band, I've been surrounded by great vocalists. We had Chris Thompson. There was Pete Cox and the amazing Noah McCullough. Now we've got Robert Hart, and I'm there with these guys, you know, and some people say, well, I did the first 6 albums singing with the Earth Band anyway. I mean, we've come right forward now. But I've been with these amazing singers. It's been hard work, I tell you.
I can imagine, but I mean, you're wonderful at what you do. So I think. So tell me, this is a rumor. I'm not sure if this is, or if it's actually that you were almost part of Genesis before you were part of Earthband. Was that before or after? Put that into perspective time-wise.
That was, I'll tell you what happened. We were touring America with the Earthband, and it was fantastic, as it is now, and I'm not talking about myself, I'd say the other guys. The original Earthband was incredible, and they've always been great bands, the Earthband, I have to say, and it's a pleasure to be up there with them, What was your question again?
About Genesis.
Sorry. Yeah. I became such a pain because I wanted to go in a slightly different direction, and it was told to me that I didn't want to play rock anymore, which is not true. I went into a jazz thing, and I had played with some great people in Australia, some jazz guys and stuff like that. So I got that out of my system, but I became a real pain. And Manfred then said, "Look, Mick, you got to go because you got to get this out of your head." So I went back to Australia and formed this great sort of jazz thing. And then, but previous to going there, the manager, Harry Maloney, he said, "Look, I've got you an audition for Genesis because Gabriel's leaving." Mm-hmm. And so I went up to North London, and I had to learn a really difficult album in about 3 days, Selling England by the Pound. So I walked in, and they're all heroes of mine, Phil Collins. In fact, Phil Collins used to come and see my band Aviator because he loved that. So anyway, but anyway, I'm digressing. I'm sorry.
No. It's so interesting. You keep going, please. No, please.
And then I walked into this room, and all the Genesis were there, and they said, "All right." So I went to get my guitar out of the case, and they said, "Oh, no, we don't need a guitarist because Mike's doing the guitar." I said, "Oh, right." I said, "Right, so you just want me to sing?" He said, "Yeah." So we sung this thing, "I know what I like, and I like what I know." And it went pretty well. And then I left, and then my manager rang me up, and he said, "Look," he said, "you come close, but they've already decided to go with Phil as the singer." And rightly so, because he had that same inflection that Gabriel had, and blah, blah. He sounded great, Went on to be a big star, I might add. But, yeah. You know what I mean? But I don't know if Phil remembers this, because I saw him recently. He was asked, and he said, "Well, no one really came close to joining the Genesis. We didn't really find the right guy." But previous to that, he said on a BBC interview that the guy who plays with Manfred Mann came close. He said, he was okay.
Do you dwell on that sometimes and think, or just think about how your life would have been different?
Again, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was talking to our sound guy, Pete Dutton, and he said, you've had, have you made the right choices? Have you done this? I said, well, I've stayed with the Earthband, What happened was, I was in America, and I played, Frank Zappa was my big hero, right? And we were at a gig, and his bass player, and I also play bass, so his bass player's wife, I think, went sick. So he had to fly back from LA, and we were down in Alabama somewhere. So, that's the title of a song, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, we were down. So they said to Colin, the Earthband bass player, "Would you like to sit in with Frank tonight? Because he needs a..." And Colin said, "No." He said, "I haven't a clue about Frank." He said, "I love him. Mick's the guy, because he's a big fan." So they asked me, and I went, "Oh, man. What's to play with them here? George Duke, Chester Thompson, Napoleon Brock." And I thought, oh, well. So they asked me along, and there I was at soundcheck.
Well, it sounded like you didn't want to do it, or you did, or
well,
you just, or you were scared.
You've heard the music probably, and it's so complicated and everything. So He said, well, Frank came up and he was so nice. He's lovely. He was a great guy. He said, well, man, we start off with this thing. He said, it's Pygmy Twilight. He said, I don't know if you know that. And I went... He said, you really are a fan, aren't you? I said, yeah, I am. And I was on stage with the Earth Band for about an hour and a half. And then I was with Frank for about 2.5, 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
So at the end of it, I was bamboozled. I didn't sleep that night. We had to catch a flight early the next morning. And it made the press in England, you know, guy from Manfred sort of plays with Frank Zappa. That's in the days when you had the music papers were like part of the headlines as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And also the way you just kind of nonchalantly, you know, say, oh, I played with Phil Collins and Genesis and Frank Zappa. It's kind of, it all sounds so like it just fits into your whole, your life and the way you are, which is so wonderful. I would love to hear something more. And we were talking about the Earth Band a lot. So maybe you could play, I don't know, Blinded by the Light, for example, right now. And I'm going to get out of the way for a second again.
I'll change the key of it slightly because I'm sitting down. So it's... This is the acoustic version, but on the sofa version. Blinded by the light, wrapped up like a deuce, another runner in the night. Blinded by the light, wrapped up like a deuce, another runner in the night. Mad drummers, bummers, engine in the summer, teenage diplomat. Well, the most of the boss in the alley, there's some bumps waiting to his hat. Well, a boulder on my shoulder, feeling kind of road. I tripped the merry-go-round. Well, it was Mary squeezing, wheezing, pleasing. Calliope crashed to the ground. She was blinded by the light, wrapped up like a deuce, another runner in the night. Blinded by the light, wrapped up like a deuce, another runner in the night. She got down, she never got tight. She's gonna make it through the night. She's gonna make it through the night. There's a story about the lyrics as well, I'll tell you in a minute. Some silicone sister with a manager, mister, told me I got what it takes. She said, I'll turn you on, son, into something strong. Play a tune with a funky break. Mozart go-kart, checking out the weather chart, seeing if it's safe outside. There was little early Burley, my hands candy welly, asked me if I needed a ride. She was blinded by the light, wrapped up like a deuce, another runner in the night. Blinded by the light, wrapped up like a deuce, another runner in the night. She got down, she never got tired. She gonna make it through the night. She gonna make it through the night. Through the night. I always get tongue-tied with those lyrics, you know, because they come on top of one another. But Bruce,
Bruce Springsteen. It's an original song by Bruce Springsteen, right? Or was written by Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce Springsteen.
Okay, yeah. So tell me the story behind the lyrics.
What happened was when the single came out, it was banned in America because they thought the lyric was blinded by the light, wrapped up like a douche. So sorry, I'll say that again. Blinded by the light, wrapped up like a douche. Which is kind of harsh words, you know. And so it was taken off the market. And what happened was the machine, when it was done the mix, I think it's called an Asimov machine. I've got a feeling it was a Russian machine. But the tape went over the head, and instead of a s, it came out a sh. Right? So, and Bruce Springsteen, to this day, if he's interviewed, he says, well, you know, Manfred Mann's guys got the lyrics mixed up, but he's wrong. What happened was we had the right lyrics, but it sounded wrong.
Oh, okay.
So they had to go in and remix the track, put it right, and of course it was a big hit. And it's the only, I think I'm right in saying it's the only number one that Bruce Springsteen's ever had as a single tune. I think most of the albums were number ones and sold incredible, but I think that's the only single he's had.
When you hear that song, I mean, you hear it on the radio and you hear other songs as well, but when you hear any of the songs that you were part of, where you just were part of the whole musical evolution, what does it make you feel like? Tell me, describe what it is. Is it more like a feeling of, oh my gosh, time is running by so quickly, or is it a feeling of I can't hear it anymore, I'm sick of it, or what do you feel?
Well, it's an even bigger story than that, talking about being sick of it, because when I learned to play blinded while I was still in the Earth Band, and we did Davy as what they called a shuffle. David's on the road again. Well, the beautiful clothes again. You know, like that, which was the original way that Bruce Springsteen did it. And there's a track called Spirits in the Night, which I do on the show. I can do that in a minute, actually. And I was in Australia playing this so-called jazz thing and sort of rockabilly, mixing it up with these guys in Australia. And then, because I didn't do the original Blinded by the Light, it was Chris Thompson. And it was gradually going up the Billboard charts. So I'd get the Billboard magazine, and I'd go, yeah, number 100. Yeah, that's pretty good for Manfred. Congratulations. Then it went to 50. I went, oh, yeah, congratulations. And then it went to 20. I thought, well, that's enough now. I've had enough of this now, And then it went to number one. It was a big record for them. But it didn't displease me. I always thought, and this might sound crazy, I always thought I was going to rejoin it later and still carry on.
Why? Why do you think that? Why?
I've never had, the only differences I've had, and I've known Manfred since 1971, the only differences we've ever had have been musical. We're still great mates to this day. We're still great mates. Never had an argument. And, when you're together pretty consistently, that is quite something. He's still a good friend. And I think he knew that eventually we'd work together again. Maybe not in an Earth Band situation, but definitely in a situation.
So how did that come about? How did you come back to the band?
I saw them...
Sorry.
It's all right. I'll be doing that in a minute. I saw them at the Dominion Theatre. And someone in the band, they won't mention any names, was having a bit of a hard time. And I was walking up the stairs to see the guys after the gig, and John Lingwood, the then drummer, who's the drummer now, came down and he said, what are you doing tomorrow? And I said, well, I was really practicing or a bit of recording at home. Why? He said, I think we want you back.
And do you remember, was your first thought yes, or was it, I have to think about it?
Oh, it's fantastic because it doesn't stop you doing other things. It's not like the first band where we were working 6 days a week and then we got off to America. We'd have 6 weeks in America and then we'll have a couple of weeks off, and it's either we come home or we stayed there. And then we do another 6 weeks on the road. And it really was, weekends didn't exist on a personal situation. We kept going and going and going. It was a gradual build-up. And we sold out Philadelphia Spectrum without selling a record.
Wow.
With me, they couldn't sell a record. And it wasn't till later that we started to do that. And we had a big hit with a song called Joybringer, which I found in Australia. We did it. And in fact, it wasn't me. It was a guy called Rusty Wiley. And it was a drug song. It went, make your stash
Be careful when you do. There are dogs, they're gonna find about you. You know, it was like that. And then we were sitting around in England because Manfred loved the melody, you know. Loved that. And then I think it was Chris Slade who said, what about changing lyrics around and make it more poppy? And it became Joybringer. And it was a hit in England for us.
You want to play Joybringer?
Might as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
I mean, it's got instrumental in the middle, so, you know, it's...
I'm sure you can figure it out.
I bring joy and I come here. There are days when people feel the same as you. I bring joy and I come here with you. I bring life and I can take you where you can see, feel and breathe and touch the air. I bring joy, I come here with you. Feelings inside that we seek, out of sight and out of reach, brings us to the things we seek. Take your time, be careful when you do. There are days when people feel the same as you. I bring time and I come here with you. Oh, you know, and it was a big instrumental thing. You know, which goes into a big rock thing. It's
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, all these stories are just amazing. Anyway, you wanted to play Spirits as
Oh, yeah.
well? All right, well, I'll let you, I'll just leave again, because then we have you as by yourself. I'll be right back, though. But I will.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
right, you are. Crazy Davy and a mission man were back in the alley trading hands. Along came Wild Billy with his friend G-Man, duded up for Saturday night. Billy slammed on his course of brakes, said, anybody wanna go to Greasy Lake? It's a mile down on the dark side of Route 88. Got a bottle of rose and it's tried. So we danced all night to a rock and roll band. She kissed me right there like no other devil can. She felt so nice. Together we moved like spirit in the night. All night. Janie, don't know what you do to you. Spirits in the night, all night. Stand right up and let her do it to you. Wild Billy was a crazy cat. He shook some dust out his coonskin cap. He said, Lord above, I want to show you where you're at, or at least it'll help you to feel it. By the time we made it up to Greasy Lake, my head was out the window, Janie's fingers in the cake. I think I really dug her. I was too loose to fake. She said, I'm hurt, baby, let's heal it. So we rocked all night to a rock and roll band. She kissed me right there like no other angel can. She felt so nice. Together we move like spirits in the night. All night. Janie, don't know what you do to you. In the night, all night. Stand right up and let her do it to you.
apparently,
Wonderful.
I think it was either that or Blinded by the Light. I think Bruce got the lyrics from a book. I think it was Blinded. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're tongue-twisting lyrics. And when I do it now, I do it in a higher key, and by the end of it, I'm exhausted.
Speaking about learning all these lyrics, I mean, and you just brought out your third studio album. Mm-hmm. So you've been doing music since you were 10 years old. You know 1,000 or 10,000 songs. Mm. How do you remember all the lyrics when you're on stage, or when you're even just rehearsing? Is it or some of them just always in your head, and other ones you have to work harder on?
Well, it's easier to remember Blue Suede Shoes than it is to remember Blinded by the Light.
Oh, really?
I mean, Blinded by the Light, you can't. I mean, I goofed up today. There was a couple of words that I didn't quite sing right, but I usually do it a bit too fast, it should be a bit slower, but there you go. That's rock and roll.
And you're the artist, you get to decide for yourself how fast or how slow you want to play it, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about your new album, The Guitars.
Yeah.
It came out in January.
Yeah.
It is your third studio album, as I just said, and Human is the first song off, or the main song of it, or the first release. What were you thinking when you wrote Human?
Well, I thought to myself, I got my own studio at home, and so, time is not a problem, and the money's okay. So I had some old tracks which had never been released, so we remastered those. I didn't re-record, we boosted up the volume because I did it on old equipment. I wasn't thinking anything really. I mean, the single is, I know it sounds crazy. I'd love to give you a lovely story about it. But Human, which is the single, I had years ago, and I love Irish music, and some of that that goes all the way through the song. Do you
want to play it?
Well, I can't really. So you think of me as some bad mistake. If that's what you feel, then you're so wrong. That's going all the way through. One night, a new light will shine upon your eyes. Yes, you know what you're feeling deep inside. If you want me to be, I'll be more human. The loving you will take a little more time. If you want me to be, I'm gonna cry in a minute, I'll be more human. And loving you will take a little more time. So all the time is that's going all the way through the tune,
I would love to do that part for you, but I think we're going to stick. I love hearing both of you doing it both together. It's probably better that way.
Okay.
But you just said there's no story behind that song, and I don't believe you, because it's a love song, and it's it's something. It seems like a message to someone who you may have done wrong, or do I understand that incorrectly?
Well, I had that.
Okay, so tell me about it.
Oh, well, it's an old story. Yeah, it probably relates to my partner's going to be watching this thing. No, I mean, I do write love songs because I think they communicate more. Am I getting away from the subject you were talking about?
I'm going to get back to it, though, so don't even try.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to give me the nitty-gritty, but it was written for someone who you'd done wrong, or is it an apology, or is it an explanation, or how would you?
She didn't think I was being very kind to her, which I think is, from my standpoint, is terribly untrue. But It was Jackie, my first wife, whereby she wanted to live in Australia. She couldn't live in England. I couldn't live in Australia on a permanent basis because of all my ties in Australia. So I had to leave the family, and that was a big one, you know. And she thought, well, you're inhuman. You're not this, you know. And then, well, if you want me to be, I'll be more human, but loving you. I had that all those years ago, and it didn't come into a song, you know. Yeah, I'm still friendly with her. And
does she know it's a song that you wrote?
No.
No? Now she does,
No,
maybe.
now she's gonna, yeah. I'm sorry about Jackie.
Did you, your son George also wrote a song on this album. Does he know that this song has to do with your family?
Does who?
Your son, George?
No, because he wasn't born then. George is 19. I have a partner now, and she's lovely. I have 4 children.
Okay, then
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I thought you had
No.
okay.
2 in Australia, and Oliver, who was born in England but now lives in Australia. And my son in Australia was a pearl diver for like 18 years. My daughter co-owns a tattoo shop in Bali, although she lives in Australia. She's got a lovely family and stuff like that, you know. And George, who I'm extremely proud of, is a great keyboardist. He's only been playing 3 years. He plays on my album.
Exactly. The Privateers is the song that he wrote, right, with you.
He's great. You know.
Yeah, what I mean, I'm sure you. I mean, as you can tell, you seem like a big family person. Growing up in a family in Essex, in a big house with all the family. Yeah. Then you talking about your children and how much love there's going on. What does George do that makes you so proud? And what do the other kids do? What makes you proud as a father?
Oh, I mean, they're all different personalities. Sean is a real Aussie, although he was born in Australia, but he moved back with his mum. And he's like, oh, mate, how's it going? Yeah, oh, yeah. And my daughter, Justine, she's like that, but they're lovely. She played bass for a while, but I think, I don't know if she's still doing that. I think she plays professional pool as well. She's an amazing pool player.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
How about that?
So many different tattoo studios and pool players and keyboard players, and that's amazing.
My grandchildren
you have
is a DJ.
But you have 10 grandchildren, is that right?
Yeah,
that's
I think 11 now.
11. Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I went to Australia because I've been back for 3 weddings. My son Sean, Justine, and Oliver, and. I said, I had all these grandchildren running around, you know, a few of them older and stuff like that. And I said, my God. I said, what's all this, you know? And my daughter said, well, you started it.
This is true.
Which is kind of right.
So tell me, at these weddings, do you always have to play? Do they make you play the guitar?
Oh, man, yeah.
Okay, so what did you play at the wedding?
I played some rock and roll.
All right, then want to play what you played at the wedding?
I just have.
Oh, please.
Okay. No, I mean, I just have. What else? Oh. Okay. There's my son, Ollie, and he's going, oh, Dad, I can't keep up with you, mate. Or rather, I can't keep up with you, because he's more English. Get out of that kitchen, rattle those pots and pans. Get out of that kitchen, rattle those pots and pans. Roll my breakfast, 'cause I'm a hungry man. Shake, rattle and roll. You know that one. Shake, rattle and roll. Shake, rattle and roll. Shake it, rattle and roll. You never do nothing to save your doggone soul. And there I go. I said, come on, keep up, you know. He go, give me a break. Shake, rattle and roll. Shake, rattle and roll. Shake it, rattle and roll. Shake, rattle and roll. You never do nothing to save your doggone soul. that kind of thing. Got them dancing,
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I can imagine that your grandchildren, I don't know how old they are, but do they come after you've played, they come up to you and say, "Oh my gosh, Grandpa," or whatever they call you? What do they call you? Do they call you Grandpa?
Yeah, they call me Grandpa.
Okay. They didn't say, "Oh my gosh, Grandpa, you're so good at it," or did they not even really care? How was the reaction from the kids?
Well, they're all very supportive. I'm not sure about the grandchildren. One of them's a DJ now, Charlie. She's fantastic, apparently.
Oh, cool.
I haven't seen a show of hers, but it'd be amazing. Yeah, I think the other kids won't mind me saying this, but I think the one guy who, to me, is amazing is George, because he's only been playing 3 years. He's absolutely obsessed with Rick Wakeman. He's a prog guy, Rick Wakeman, and Keith Emerson, and Jordan Rudess from Dream Theater. He loves Dream Theater, out of sight, you see, people ask about me, and they say, right, well, what are your musical tastes? What do you like? I like everything from classical. I'm not too hot on the opera thing or the ballet thing, although I appreciate it like crazy. But, I love Prodigy. And I'm a big Taylor Swift fan. Sorry, guys.
You don't have to apologize.
I've lost a lot of fans now.
I don't think so. I think it's a good, having a mixture of input, and it's wonderful. And
Beyonce.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beyonce's last album was incredible.
Absolutely.
So I like all that. There's a lot of modern stuff, which is great.
Do you play a cover version of any of the people that you just mentioned? Can you play Taylor Swift or Beyonce or anything on the guitar?
I'd love to be able to. I am going to do Cruel Summer, but I can't play that because I haven't fully learned it. But I love that track. And also there's another tune by Justin Timberlake, which I can't play because that's a big We Will Rock You kind of thing. And that was on Love Sexy, is it? The album Love Sexy?
I think.
Yeah. I don't want to fall in love with you. And I want to do like doom doom bop doom boom bop, big rock song.
So that'll be on your next tour,
that'll
on your next album too.
Album.
Oh, good.
We've already
great.
got the title for it, which is Planet of the Amps.
I love that. That's great. Absolutely.
Yeah, Planet of the Amps.
I do want to ask you one more thing about, there are thousands of things I can talk to you about. I want to talk to you about the NFL and your affiliation to the NFL, because there is an affiliation. Important. I think people have no idea where that would come from, but do you like American football?
No. Well,
no.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it, but the rules are so weird. I can't get into that, It's like English rugby. I like watching the internationals, but ask me the rules, I haven't got a clue. No, what happened was I wrote a song called Start Your Engines, which was originally written for Jeff Beck, because I spent a couple of days with Jeff and I went down to his house and we became quite friendly. And I've got the last track he ever recorded, I think, in the studio, which was Lucille, the Little Richard thing, because we had a rockabilly band which did an album, and that was called Balls Deluxe, and believe it or not, and he came down and played Lucille, but he didn't like his amp sound, so he said, look, we'll do it some other time. And then I said to him, I said, what's happening with the Johnny Depp thing? I said, are you going out on tour? And at the time, Johnny Depp was going through his court case. And he said, I'm not sure what's happening with Johnny, simply because what happens with the court case? He said, I don't know. He said, whatever. Anyway, he won his court case and they went out on tour, came back, and we were supposed to get together. And he passed away. Jeff Beck passed away. So, I did get an inclination of him and myself playing something together. We had an old manager of mine, Colin Newman, who's more an accountant but took care of Jeff, and so he put us together. But okay, so I sent Start Your Engines to IndyCar, because I thought, originally NASCAR, because I thought the music they were using, a lot of it wasn't appropriate. And my track starts off with, with a... I did all these car noises. I went, gentlemen, start your engines. And I sent it to IndyCar. And within about 4 days, it was Colin at the centre, and within about 4 days, Pam Miller, who's the head of the IndyCar thing over there, she said, it's perfect. So she said, we're going to use it, albeit next year, because they're programmed each race, and it starts this weekend. So I've got a thing with IndyCar, and also added on to that from Fox is NFL. So, and possibly of NASCAR as well.
Wow.
Because Pam takes care of NASCAR, and they are so enthusiastic. And we're hoping to go to the States to do a concert there in one of the races, and we'll see what transpires. That would be amazing.
That would be so much fun, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Can you play anything, can you play an acoustic version of it?
No,
or,
because
it's really hard,
sorry, yeah.
I'm just...
You know, it's one of those.
Yeah.
A typical Jeff Beck kind of vibe.
I'm trying to
But
figure
it's
out.
on the album.
It's on the album.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there are so many
Yeah.
songs on the album. It's all a great mixture of songs, old ones and new ones.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out which song I'm going to let you, or you'd like to play for us for the end of the show. Is there one song maybe off the album you'd like to play, or anything that's from a long time ago, or something that is?
Well, the song, there's another story here.
Mm-hmm.
Manfred had so many hits with Bob Dylan in the 60s. And Bob Dylan once said that out of all the people that have covered his tunes, he likes Manfred Mann, you know, very much so. Of course, other people, I mean, millions of people have covered his tunes, but that was a nice thing for him to say. We did this thing called Father a Day, and what happened was Manfred would get the demos straight from Dylan's publishers. So he was listening to the Basement tapes before they became the Basement tapes, you know. So we listened to the things, and then he said, what about this? And he put this thing on, Father a Day, and Bob Dylan, and we went, oh my God. Well, there's a song there. So Manfred said, look, I'm going to have some lunch. You figure it out. And well, it wasn't exactly like that, but I mean, I slowed the riff down.
And I'll let you play it.
Big hit for Earthbound. Father of night, Father of day, Father who take the darkness away, Father who teacheth the birds to fly, builder of rainbows in the sky. Father of day, Father of night, Father of black, Father of white, Father of rivers, Father of streams, dwells in our hearts and our memories. Father of loneliness and pain, Father of night, Father of day. Father of grain, Father of wheat, Father of cold, Father of heat, Father of air, Father of trees, who dwells in our hearts and our memories. Father of night, Father of day, Father who take the darkness away. Father of minutes, Father of days, Father of whom we most solemnly praise. Father of loneliness and pain, Father of night, Father of day.
pain. Father night, Father's Day. Father night, Father's Day. Father night, Father's Day. Something like that.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. It has been a great pleasure being able to talk to you,
It's
find out
been
more.
great to talk to
Thank
you.
you so much.
It's wonderful.
Thank you for letting us into your life, into your soul a little bit, and
yeah.
it's really wonderful to
Thank
be
you.
able to do that. I wish you all lots of fun listening to The Guitarist, the album that's out right now, and you're going to be on tour, and we're going to wait for the next album as well because we have to hear that for sure. And we wish you all the best. Keep music in your souls because that's the best thing to have in your soul. Love and music, and then everything's going to be fine. So, Mick, thank you so much for being on the show today.
My pleasure. It's fantastic.
Thank you so
very
much. This has been Sofa Recordings. Take care and see you all very, very soon. Bye. We're done. I think they're not paying attention. And that was very lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was great. Oh, it's nice questions too.
Thank you.
Put me on the spot there with my
No, I
ex-wife,
didn't.
Frank.
I'm sorry
God
about that.
damn.